Hi there, this is my channel, Yaru Walks. In the year 2024, I will embark on an epic walking journey across the United States. I plan to hike 8,000 miles and to cross the US 3 times, via the Appalachian Trail, Pacific Crest Trail, and Continental Divide Trail. In the hiking world, this is known as a calendar year Triple Crown and has been completed by only a handful of hikers in history. The calendar year Triple Crown has traditionally been completed by jumping within or between the trails throughout the year, primarily to avoid snow, but also to avoid other seasonal hazards such as floods, extreme desert heat, and wildfires. For my attempt, I'm trying to hike each trail on a continuous, unbroken, end-to-end footpath, and to accomplish this, I must hike across all 4 seasons. I will be posting weekly updates along the way, so you can join me for the journey. Wish me luck.
Here's on. I got trash in the back, so I was gonna hit the dump before.
Back on trail. Sixes and I are on a little short length bushwhacky. It's part of a alternate route we're hiking today. It's shaving off something like 20 miles.
Yeah, look how red that is. And this, whatever this line is right there.
I love this house. 2 dogs back there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And they're all sheepdogs. How's it going? Going good? This guy is bikepacking the US with his dog. Oh. Yeah, I'm gonna say hi to her.
Oh, maybe just go closer so I can pull the bike.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, good idea. Got it. Yeah.
She does this. They don't leave her attached behind her.
What's her name?
Mose.
Mose. Oh my god, she's a good travel doggy.
How you guys do? It must be cold at night.
It's pretty chilly.
It's a little chilly.
Yeah, I'm a whale scientist. Oh yeah? I have all my good ones.
Get a video of the inside of the church. The wallpaper is amazing. There we go. Marysville General Store. This is extremely well constructed. Built in 1898. Oh my god, the inside is stunning. It has to be a wedding venue. I mean, look at the floor and I think it's the bathroom back there.
Oh, yeah, really nice. Classy little space.
We linked back on the CDT now. I'm just so floored by the beauty of this. It's an interesting topic of conversation. I've heard, hikers who've hiked many, many, many thousands of miles, like over 8,000 miles, which would be basically well over the length of like a Triple Crown distance, if you were to have hiked all through the Triple Crown trails. So very experienced hikers say many times, like, at some point I was over the views. And I didn't, initially when I heard that, I was like, oh, I guess that makes sense, but I didn't understand what they meant. And I feel like the more and more I hike, it's like I'm chasing feelings rather than I'm chasing the views. And the feeling could be described as like, I don't know, a Zen state or a flow state, or I don't know, just a magical feeling of seeing something special. And just this wide open field with mountains in every direction, no buildings anywhere in sight. There's always an airplane to ruin things, so it's just, yeah, super special. Alrighty, we're at McDonald Pass now. This road goes right up and over the Continental Divide, and the other direction it goes to Helena, Montana, where I have a resupply box. But it's kind of a blind hill, so I'm gonna walk up to the very front of it where people coming up the hill can see me with my thumb out. But then they're going really fast, so further behind me is Sixes with his thumb out to indicate where they can pull over, because there's a pullover area right here. So now we're tag teaming the hitch. I think the least satisfying pool is a pool that is only half full. The most satisfying pool is a pool that's empty to look at. It's strange, I don't know why. And a full pool is probably the second best pool. So we're on the official CDT red line, and this section was like, I guess, semi-closed. We talked to a local who said that all of the locals just hike through here anyway. And we've met a number of people who are hiking here. But the CDT section is definitely super challenging. So you can see blowdowns as far as the eye can see right now. And then where we were before, they had basically taken a, I don't know, wood, like something like a combination of a steam roller and a wood chipper. And so we just hiked through 5 miles of basically what are splinters, but they're log sized. And I didn't film it because I thought we would break through and things would get better, but we broke through into bushwhacking over just a jungle gym of blowdowns. So this is still not as bad as Maine, I will say. Maine was worse than this. I think maybe the ridge line is right there. Maybe let's just go up 100 feet, see if it's any better. And if it's not, maybe work our way down. So we worked our way another 100 feet back up to the ridge line. We were debating, we could see clear grass way down there. We were thinking about just going downhill and walking in that meadow. But the CDT, which is this trail, cleared back up. We were skeptical because, like I said, it was 4 miles of no trail on effectively, like, quite literally giant splinters the size of fireplace logs. Basically, they've done some deforestation in this area, I think for fire prevention. And again, I didn't film that area back there. It was unbelievable. Just imagine like a scene out of Bambi. Already up and hiking late this morning. That's okay. Pretty much my only goal for today is to make it about half the way to Butte. So something like 28 to 30 miles maybe. And then I'm not actually planning to stop in Butte the following day, just to hike past it. But yeah, just kind of, no day on trail is a boring day, but this is just kind of a boring day, just kind of hiking 28 miles in these woods. And there's no real goal other than just get 30 miles down the trail, which again is not boring, but it's not like leaving a town, coming into a town, hitting a major milestone. It's just one of those days that in the whole year, I feel like you could easily forget this day. Just kind of working my way through the forest today. I think something like 10 miles ahead, I'm gonna hit I-15, Interstate 15, which goes into Butte. But I've packed enough food that I will hike on past Butte. And then tomorrow, I'll start a detour hike that I guess I'll talk more about that tomorrow. But the goal for today is just to get past I-15 and up, maybe halfway up the next mountain. Someday I'll learn that bushwhacking is never faster. But that day is not today. Still haven't found the trail, but I have found water. It's supposed to be right here somewhere. Oh my God. It's right up here somewhere. There it is. Back on trail. There we go. Alrighty, so I'm here in, I don't even know the nearest town, I guess Whitehall for me at least, but we're out in the mountains. And tell me your name, please.
I'm Richard Lane.
Richard Lane, okay. And so he stopped, saw me on the side of the road and kind of knew that I was hiking the CDT, but then started quizzing me and all these questions about winter. He's kind of like, don't you know what's coming in a couple of weeks to a month? And everything he said was so right on point. And so he was talking about how he does a lot of winter hiking out here and has used like vapor barriers and whatnot, right? And so just the extent of your knowledge quickly impressed me, because very few people actually go out into cold weather, and only somebody who goes into cold weather would know about vapor barriers. Also, there's a car coming, I'll step over here. So anyway, that's just kind of the background. But I guess you said that you wrote a book. Could you give me the title of the book and kind of the story behind that?
Well, I can.
Yep.
Yeah. The name of the book is Inaccessible.
Mm-hmm.
And there are photos in it for the less driven for reading. And it concerns my Glacier Park trips, which was scouting for what I'm doing now, which is following the Continental Divide from Wyoming to the Canadian border during the winter. And I took that first, though, and a series of trips there. And the area, probably the last trip was the one that the book is primarily focused on, because it was there where I started experiencing serious doses of avalanches, and the kind that rocked the camp, and that is what primarily the story is about. It's about the trips that I took, the several trips in, and then the final trip, which was through Hole in the Wall.
It's when you would tell people your plans, what were their responses to you, or what did they tell you?
The guy that was given the permits at Glacier Park at the one of the stations, he says, "You can't do that. It's inaccessible." So, to that young fella that said that, you named my book.
Yeah, that's awesome. And
And so when you come out here and you do these kind of winter expeditions, what kind of gear do you bring and what kind of conditions do you see? And let's say maybe in November or December.
The gear fits the conditions. The conditions are different in November as opposed to December. And December and January and February are very, very similar. They require pretty much the same gear. I can probably get away with the zero-rated bag system with the other gear that goes around that system. Somewhere around the middle of December. But after that, I have to go to my expedition bag, which is, in my case, it's a 20 below Fahrenheit bag, and it's and within all of my sleeping systems during the winter comes the vapor barrier liner, the fleece blanket on the outside, the baby sack on the outside of all of that. Multi-layer system.
In the fleece blanket, do you put that outside of the sleeping bag?
Yes.
And is that inside, then outside of the vapor barrier as well, or inside?
No. I put the sleeping bag, well, the vapor barrier liner is inside the sleeping bag.
Yep.
The sleeping bag is inside the fleece blanket, and all of
Yes.
that goes inside the bivy sack.
Okay. Can you explain why people use vapor barriers? Because I think a lot of people watching would not know what a vapor barrier is.
Vapor barrier liner is not waterproof breathable. It is very simply waterproof. It will not let the moisture out. The one I use has a hood, and all the seams are sealed, and it comes with the hood included, and all of it connected up, and that all keeps most of the moisture out of the sleeping bag, out of the down of the sleeping bag.
And the moisture would be sweat that's forming because you're using a -20 Fahrenheit rated bag, right? So if you're warm in there, you'll be sweating there overnight. Even if it's 0 degrees Fahrenheit out, you'll still sweat in the bag. Yeah.
It does not matter what the temperature is,
Mm-hmm.
or how warm or cold you are. You're still going to pour out the skin is still going to let out moisture.
Mm-hmm.
And what the cold does, not inside the sleeping bag, but what the cold does on the outside, like your hands, if you're bare, the hands will begin to crack and start bleeding after a while. And that's what the moisture is for. And it's always, we don't see it, it's a vapor, and it's always coming out of our pores all over us, from the tip of our toes to the top of our heads. So the purpose behind the vapor barrier liner, because we don't sweat, I don't sweat. I don't crawl into a sleeping system with a vapor barrier liner in it and sweat. I crawl in when it's that warm. If it's that warm, I won't have the vapor barrier in there. And I put the vapor barrier in there when it's sub-zero and outside. Then there's no sweating going on inside that bag. But the moisture still nevertheless continues in the body. It's coming out. That's how the skin stays soft and supple.
Your hands look like they're steaming, right?
Well,
Or the effect is that.
the hands are very vulnerable. Because obviously they're out here in the open, and they
At
also.
least I saw that when I was in Maine, was just like actual vapor, coming off of my skin.
Yeah, you're gonna. Yeah, absolutely. You'll see it from time to time, but mostly you don't see the vapor. And the vapor that's deadly on the down, or for that matter, synthetic material, even it will capitulate to the moisture eventually. But the down is in particular will collapse under the fill power will collapse with that moisture. What it does is it comes out of the body into the bag, into the down, goes up to the surface until it hits the part where it gets cold enough, turns back from vapor into moisture, into water droplets, goes into the down, including eventually the down that is supposedly waterproofed with a coating in there. One does not want to do what I do and take a chance with something that's purportedly is going to stay waterproof or keep the down waterproof.
Have you had a sleeping bag ice out like that, where
What? I'm sorry.
Have you ever had a situation where you weren't using a vapor barrier, you were emitting vapor, and then it saturated the bag, froze overnight, and then you're dealing with kind of a frozen sleeping bag? Have you ever run into that situation yourself?
I think everybody who uses a vapor barrier, because it's really uncomfortable to use a vapor barrier.
Yeah.
It's really clammy. I've heard people I won't use them, it's clammy.
Yeah.
And okay, that's more power to you. What they just told me is that they've never been out there doing what I do. Because if they did, they would have, everybody that does what I do, and there's only a few of us, everybody that does what I do is eventually going to get into trouble. And their life will be on the line inside the sleeping bag, inside the tent. And if they survive it, that's when they get the vapor barrier liner and start using it like they want to live.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've been under the circumstances. Everyone that uses a vapor barrier liner has had that circumstances, and which is the reason why they use a vapor barrier liner.
Yeah. So it's like that experience is
very
what
few people-
graduates you into that situation that you're now using a vapor barrier.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's to taught me to do that.
Yeah.
But I found that it wasn't enough. Vapor barrier liner, for all the good it does, it's not enough, and that's what the fleece blanket's all about. And I needed to have something that was synthetic, that's protecting the sleeping bag with the down in it, protecting that when what little moisture does escape, because there's always going to be a little bit up around the head, and it'll get out into the bag and maybe even filtrate down, and but always there's going to be a little, and eventually, because nothing evaporates during that time of the year, it eventually will accumulate, and that's when the danger happens. And because the trips are extended from weeks on end to months on end, one's got to have something that's going to protect their down from that condition even. And so even with a vapor barrier liner, one's going to have that danger come up. Thus, the fleece blanket. The fleece blanket will offset a lot more of it. And then, of course, the bivy sack that all of it's in. All of those things together will keep a person going almost indefinitely.
It was vapor barrier, sleeping bag, fleece, and then bivy.
Got it.
That order. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So that's protecting the outside of the sleeping bag, the fleece blanket. Is that the idea?
Fleece blanket is it creates a barrier for when the moisture comes up through the down, and when it gets up there closer to the surface, it finally leaves the vapor behind and becomes water droplets as it gets to the surface or near the surface. If there's another layer there, it can keep going through the down, get into the fleece,
Okay.
and then become moisture or water droplets, and then it will freeze. And then the way to cure that, shake it out.
Yeah. Okay.
After as part of the camp, building the camp or breaking camp.
Yeah.
You shake it out, shake out the ice. And like I say, with that system, the person's going to go on indefinitely.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for the interview and for just even stopping to chat and giving me some water. It's been fun talking to you.
I wish you well.
Thanks to Richard. The odds of meeting him, I don't know, maybe they're good in Montana, but that guy knows his cold weather hiking forwards and backwards. That was so cool. I just talked to him for another 30 minutes.